Welcome everyone, Zach the Incredible Impression here at Pierce Brothers Westwood Memorial Park, and I thought we'd pay tribute to some of our favorite stars who have since passed on to the great beyond. And let's start it off with one of my great heroes, Mr. Tim Conway. What a comedic genius this man was. He's almost at the top of the wall, but still, he's definitely worth mentioning because there was no one else quite like him. Tim, of course, was a regular on the Carol Burnett show. He was known for making Harvey Korman bust out laughing when it called for Harvey to remain in character. Tim would use any advantage he could to make Harvey lose his mind. And one of the most famous skits that he and Harvey did was called The Dentist, where Tim is an uneducated beginner dentist who let's just say he completely numbs his body with Novocaine. He hits himself in the hand, the leg, then the head, and Harvey is convulsed, and according to Tim, he actually peed his pants. So I'm sure everybody knows about that sketch, but he also created two of my favorite characters. He created Mr. Toddball, the Mr. Toddball, and that same character he turned in to the Dorf, Dorf, of course, had a whole persona all to his own, but Tim Conway was one of the greatest comedians that ever lived, and he is definitely missed. Thank you for the laughs, Tim. You're very dearly missed. Let's now go to another one of my favorites right here. Kirk Douglas. And his son Eric is also interred here. Kirk, along with his wife Anne, and his son, Eric. Now, Kirk Douglas, as you all know, is the father of actor Michael Douglas. Kirk, I do believe, lived to the age of 104. Very long, good life, full of talent, and absolutely an amazing, amazing actor from the golden era of Hollywood. And we're coming up on another one of my heroes, Walter Matthau. Walter Matthau, everybody knows from The Odd Couple, Grumpy and Grumpier Old Men, Out to Sea, The Fortune Cookie, The Odd Couple 2, with Jack Lemmon. I mean, the two of them were like, there's so many comedy duos and comedy trios that you can really relate to. And when it comes to comedy duos, Walter Matthau and Jack Lemmon were literally at the top, one of many that were at the top of the list. And he is interred here with his wife Carol. Thank you very much, Walter. What a comedic genius. Moving down here, Mickey Carroll. Now, I'm not as fluent with Mickey Carroll as, I should be, because he was one of the greatest actors in the world as well. And then down here, you're going to recognize quite a few names. Starting off with Merv Griffin, the creator of such game shows as Wheel of Fortune, Jeopardy, and he even had his own talk show called The Merv Griffin Show. And look at his epitaph. It reads, "I will not be right back after this message." Typical Merv Griffin style. Now, this is a very sad one right here. Farrah Fawcett. I'm sure everybody back in the 70s and 80s, whenever it was, I think it was more the 80s, Charlie's Angels, Farrah Fawcett, that iconic red swimming suit poster. I mean, that was a must-have for every kid, every male kid growing up back then. Sadly, she died of cancer. And the sad thing is, her death, unfortunately, was overshadowed by Michael Jackson. That's right, Michael Jackson and Farrah Fawcett. But unfortunately, Michael Jackson's death overshadowed Farrah Fawcett's. So, I mean, unfortunately, but not unfortunately. But, you know, they were both great entertainers who left us way too soon. Rest in peace, Farrah. Thank you for everything. It's so peaceful out here. And just a few years before her death, Farrah Fawcett led mourners in a release of butterflies in honor of her friend Rodney Dangerfield. Well, it appears as if finally I'm getting some respect. There goes the neighborhood. I know it's kind of rude to be doing impersonations of these people when I'm visiting their final resting places, but as a fan, I just try to bring, you know, a little bit of enjoyment of what these people gave us in life. So, Rodney is right here. One of the all-time best comedians in the world. He could turn a joke in a heartbeat. Thank you, Rodney. It's very beautiful out here, very tranquil, very peaceful. You can hear the birds in the trees. Just the sound of tranquility and peace. This is a very small cemetery, but it is definitely home to the final resting places of so many stars. Can you imagine all these famous people in one little spot? And now, here is another one of my favorites. Yes, sir, Mr. Jack Lemmon in. That is funny how he put his epitaph. I mean, a lot of these great famous people, they seem to like to get the last laugh. And Jack Lemmon in the ground, pretty much. Interred right here in front of me. He and Walter Matthau, as I said, comedic geniuses. One of the greatest duos, comedy duos that ever lived. And look who we have over here. The man himself, Archie Bunker, Carroll O'Connor. Everybody knows him, of course, as Archie Bunker in All in the Family. And he was also in The Heat of the Night, which was another great show. As a matter of fact, I did the vlog on Washington, D.C. Last October, and if you might recall, they had the All in the Family set there. Archie Bunker's chair, his ashtray, and everything. Yep, All in the Family. And of course, All in the Family spinoff was that of the Jeffersons with Sherman Hemsley. And it's funny because Sherman Hemsley not only was known for the Jeffersons and All in the Family, but he was also known as a great voice actor. And growing up, he voiced one of my favorite characters, B.P. Richfield, in Dinosaurs. Yes, sir, Carroll O'Connor. Here we have Billy Wilder. I'm a writer, but then nobody's perfect. Billy Wilder. And here, Agent Columbo himself, Peter Falk. I'm not here. I'm home with Shara. That's cool. Columbo himself. Adam the Woo and I like to coin the phrase, use your Columbo-like research. Well, Adam coined it at first. I just kind of bit it off of him. But he should be flattered for it. Sam Simon. William J. Bell. Forever Young and Restless. I don't know if he was in The Young and the Restless or what, but I don't know. Don't quote me on that. Now this here is the chapel where a lot of the services were held for those who are interred here. Let's see if we can take a look in here. Now I know we probably can't get inside because it's locked, but wow. A lot of people's funerals happened here. Rodney Dangerfield, Farrah Fawcett, and most notably somebody that we're going to go visit lastly. Gonna try to find some of those that we know and love. We have Sage Stallone here, the son of Sylvester Stallone. And I'm not sure if this entire area is going to be dedicated to the Stallone family, but maybe not, because over here we have the last name of Sands, then over there Lou. So I don't know. I think Sage Stallone died of a drug overdose. My phone's ringing, folks. I'll be back. Sorry about that, guys, but that call was from Madam Ellie, also known as Zach the Incredible Impressions' wife. She prefers to be called Ellie, but I call her Mrs. Incredible, because my love is incredible. Ray Bradbury, folks. Ray Bradbury, author of Fahrenheit 451. And it appears as though somebody has left a photograph of Laurel and Hardy for him. Now, we were talking about The Odd Couple with Jack Lemmon and Walter Matthau, but here's the television actor who played Oscar on The Odd Couple TV show, Mr. Jack Klugman. Jack Klugman. I remember also in the 90s, Jack Klugman and Tony Randall did a few commercials for the Wise potato chip brand, for a division of it called Eagle Potato Chips. They're actually pretty funny. If you go and look it up on YouTube, just type in The Odd Couple Eagles Potato Chips, and the commercials should come up. Jack Klugman. Here is Doris Roberts. People remember her from Everybody Loves Raymond. She was also an incredible actress. She also had a spot on a season 4 episode of Perfect Strangers called Made to Order. Larry decides that they need to get a maid to clean the house, the apartment, and Doris Roberts comes in as their maid, but unfortunately, she starts treating them as if they're her children. She treats them like a mother would, and Larry gets fed up with it and says, I need to fire, I forget her name on there, on the show, but he says, I'm gonna need to fire her. And she overhears them, and, well, she overhears Larry, and she says, you're right, I need to go. And Balky gets very upset at Larry, and unfortunately she leaves, but then Larry makes it up to Balky by getting her a new job as a maid for the local college. That's pretty cool. Sorry if I'm just kind of walking around filming whatever right now. I'm just trying to tell this story about Doris Roberts on Perfect Strangers. Now, for the older fans that know Perfect Strangers, you probably already know about that. But anyway, let's move on and find some other people. I know Florence Henderson is around here somewhere. I just don't know where she is. I know her niche is here, but for some odd reason, I just can't find it. And I believe, if I'm correct, I believe that Tony Randall might be here as well. I'm going to try to find if he's here. There are a lot of people interred here for such a small cemetery. Yeah, if I miss Florence Henderson, if any of you folks see her as I'm panning along, let me know in the comments, because I might bypass her by accident. Incidentally, guys, I gotta tell you something. I've been using this new DJI Osmo Pocket 3 this whole trip, and I gotta tell you guys, it is an incredible camera. I know I didn't do it this time. I probably, but I figured out of respect, more respect to those interred here. I just rather say it kind of normally, you know. It's also kind of hard to find certain people in this area when there's so many markers. But I know that this is, like down here, these folks' cremated remains are actually interred inside this marble crypt. But some of them, like up here, means that, I do believe means that they're scattered here in the flower bed. And I guess the grave markers mark exactly where they were scattered, or the general area of where they were scattered. Yeah, guys, unfortunately, I cannot find Florence Henderson. I know Janet Leigh is around here somewhere. Perhaps she's over on the wall over where Jack Klugman is, because I do believe that that's where Tony Randall is also. So let's go back over there and see if we can't find them. I feel like I'm on a mission here. True mission to find those that we knew and loved. Ah, there's Janet Leigh. Janet Leigh Brandt. And as a matter of fact, she, of course, was married to Tony Curtis. And Tony Curtis and Janet Leigh are the parents of beloved actress Jamie Lee Curtis. They were two awesome actors as well. And I cannot believe that I did not notice Janet Leigh next to Jack Klugman. Maybe I was just overlooking it too much. Because also, with me being 5'10", it's not hard to accidentally bypass someone who's on the bottom row. But again, guys, do me a favor, and if you need to put this video on slow-mo or stop and play, pause and play, and let me know if you find any of them that we're looking for. As a matter of fact, I do believe Florence Henderson's niche might actually be printed on one of the marble markers. She might not actually be in an actual like plaqued piece. I think that's what it is. So I'm gonna check these here and see if she's anyone here. And may I add that I am in an extremely hot area. I mean, it's bad enough that it's hot as heck out here, but also I'm literally in a patch that is completely sunned in. Dean Reynolds. That name kind of rings a bell. I forget who he was, though. If he even was anyone. Some of these people I've heard of, but I've never really seen any of their work or anything like that, unfortunately. Bill Schroeder. Ah, there's Florence Henderson. Right there. Somebody left a little rock or something there. Here's the story of a lovely lady who was bringing up three very lovely girls. Da 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 da. As Balky and Larry did. Okay, guys, let's head out of this area and over to the other crypts across the way. Because there are some people that everybody knows and loves, but I'm saving the best for last. So let's go over here, guys.
Here's another one that we lost way too soon. Dorothy Stratton, Playboy Model of the Year in 1980. Sadly, she would not live very long to enjoy it because her estranged husband, Paul Snyder, whose name is not even worth mentioning, tried to control her every move. He was a hustler, and he tried to pretty much make her into a star, and once he did, he became very possessive and pretty much claimed that he owned the rights to her work and that she was his, and back off. And he even gave Hugh Hefner a lot of crap and flack for things. And then next to Dorothy is her boyfriend that she was dating when she was murdered by Paul. Producer, director Peter Bogdanovich. And he is interred next to his girlfriend. Now, he passed away in 2022. I remember when the news broke about his passing. It's nice to know, though, that they're together again. Another one of my heroes, Carl Dean Wilson of the Beach Boys, died of lung cancer on February 6, 1998. You can hear his lead vocals on Kokomo, Good Vibrations. Oh, just so many of them, but those are my two favorites that he sang lead on. Kokomo and Good Vibrations. Alright guys, in trying to find a certain somebody, I came across the grave of Richard Dawson, the original host of the Family Feud. Richard Dawson has literally kissed more women probably than any other man in the world. Yeah, that's Richard Dawson, and I found the grave I was looking for. If you come over here, right here is Frank Wright Tuttle. If you see him, you're going to go diagonal and you're going to find all these potted plants. This is the unmarked grave of Roy Orbison. Whoop, wrong way. This is the unmarked grave of Roy Orbison right here. There's a couple unmarked graves here, and there is somebody who is just recently laid to rest in this cemetery. And I was talking to a lady over there who's here with her daughter. She was trying to find Donna Reed, and I said to her that I know that I heard that Richard Simmons was recently laid to rest here, but I'm not sure where he's laid to rest. But she told me that she believes he is back in the corner there in the area that you cannot get into. If I see Lou Reed, I'll know where the other unmarked grave is that I'm looking for. I'm going to shut the camera off and try to navigate around here. And once I find it, I'll let you know. Okay guys, found another one. Bob Crane of Hogan's Heroes. Now, there's still controversy over how he passed away. People say apparently he was murdered, but the case has yet to be solved. I loved Hogan's Heroes. I used to watch it on my local Fox station back in PA because, it was PHL 17, because in the afternoon, two shows I loved to watch were back to back. There was Hogan's Heroes, followed by none other than Perfect Strangers. Literally was my afternoon ritual. Okay, you guys, found another Minnie Riperton, Rudolph, best known from the song Lovin' You Is Easy 'Cause You're Beautiful, with that high-pitched voice. Minnie Riperton, folks. I wonder if that lady ever found Donna Reed. But here she is. Guys, here is the cremated resting place of Burt Lancaster, another great actor. Burt Lancaster was known for hosting the Beatles at his home when they came to America. That was pretty cool that he did that. They went swimming in his pool. You guys, I completely forgot this man was here. Jeff Emmerich. He was the Beatles sound engineer for many, many years, and he passed away in 2018. But that's right, Jeff Emmerich is here. The Beatles technician, sound engineer. Wow, that is awesome. I completely forgot about him. You remember something new every day. I'm on a mission, guys, so I'll check back in with you in a bit. Natalie Wood Wagner from West Side Story, 1938 to 1981. I believe this is it. Guys, this is the unmarked grave of Frank Zappa. Amazing, amazing music. Great musician, singer. I love the song Valley Girl. Absolutely amazing. Frank Zappa in an unmarked grave. Very near Roy Orbison as well. Roy Orbison's right over there. Oh, Quincy Magoo, you've done it again. Lovey. Let's go see what Gilligan wants. Jim Backus. Quincy Magoo and Thurston Howe III. I believe that's what it was. Thurston Howe III. As I said, there's so many stars here in a small little cemetery. Okay, guys, let's get out of this area. Let's go over to the crypts. But I'm gonna save the very best for last. On the way to the crypts, we cannot leave this cemetery without visiting Mr. Jesse Donald Knotts, Barney Fife, and every one of his characters that he portrayed is featured on this gravestone. Thank you, Don, for everything you did, the laughs, just everything. You were an incredible comedian. First stop at the crypt section is Truman Capote in Cold Blood, and his best friend Joanne Carson, the wife of Johnny Carson. Unfortunately, though, Truman's remains no longer rest here because they were stolen at a party, then returned several days later, and then auctioned, believe it or not. A few years ago, they were auctioned at Christie's auction house. I believe it was Christie's or Sotheby's, one or the other. Probably Christie's auction house. So this crypt does not contain his remains. But Joanne Carson did in fact purchase a plot here for him. Down here we have a very sad person that lost her life. Heather O'Rourke from the Poltergeist film. There was always talk of a poltergeist curse because they used real human skeletons on the set. And I believe her co-star is here as well somewhere. Jackie Collins is right here as well. Award-winning author. Jackie Collins. One of the greatest drummers of all time, Buddy Rich. Certainly one of my heroes as a drummer. Buddy Rich. There was a few I missed over by Don Knotts, so I'm going to backtrack real quick and go get those on film. The gentleman who helped Rich Little get his breakthrough role on the Judy Garland show here in the United States, Mel Torme. Great comedian, Mel Torme, actor, comedian. Ava Gabor, one of the Gabor sisters. I do believe that Zsa Zsa Gabor is laid to rest in Hillside Memorial Park, which we'll visit probably either tomorrow afternoon or Monday before we go back to Florida. Man, this week is just zipping by real fast. Okay, back to the niches, folks. We're looking through the gate of one of the columbariums here, and I don't know if you can see it, but right there are the urns that hold Robert Stack and his wife, Rosemarie. Robert Stack, as you all know, was known as Elliot Ness in The Untouchables, the TV series, but my memories of Robert Stack were as the host of Unsolved Mysteries. His voice just made Unsolved Mysteries. Okay, guys, one of my heroes, the legendary Dean Martin. And his epitaph reads it: everybody loves somebody sometimes. And it looks as if somebody has left their lipstick mark for Dean. As you all know, Dean was first a hit with Jerry Lewis. Oh, I'm awful hungry, Dean, I'm awful hungry. And then he went on to reach new heights on his own as part of the Rat Pack and made his movies with Frank Sinatra and Sammy Davis Jr., Joey Bishop. And yeah, Dean Martin rests here. Rest in peace, Dean. And he died on Christmas Day, 1995. And what's weird is that his mother passed away on Christmas Day in 1963. So Christmas was bittersweet for the Martin family. Okay, guys, let's move on. Okay, guys, we're just about finished here, but we got one more stop to make. This is the most visited grave in this cemetery, and probably one of the most visited graves in the world, because when I arrived here and I parked the rental car back there, I looked over here, there was a whole group of people lining up to pay their respects to this person. Brace yourselves, because I'm talking about Marilyn Monroe, 1926 to 1962. Now, there's still controversy going on whether she committed suicide or whether there was some kind of foul play involved, because you have to remember, she had an affair with President John F. Kennedy and was heavily involved with the Kennedy family. And shortly after, as the story goes, shortly after Bobby Kennedy told Marilyn that she could not see Jack anymore, her death ensued shortly after. And above Marilyn is Richard Poncher. Now, there is a rumor that Richard asked to be entombed with his casket upside down so that he would literally be on top of Marilyn. Now, if that is true, that's, in a way, that's kind of sick, especially because his wife, Elizabeth Poncher, is directly next to him. Now, when Marilyn Monroe died, of course she was married to Joe DiMaggio, or she was dating him, one or the other, I forget, which is weird. I ought to know my history. But when she died, she was pretty much with Joe DiMaggio. But in 1998, somebody purchased the crypt next to her. That man is none other than Hugh Hefner, the founder of Playboy magazine, and the Playboy bunnies, and the Playboy name. As you can see, you can pretty much tell where Marilyn and Hugh's crypts are, because they're the only ones with severe discoloration. That's mainly because people have come up here and kissed the two crypts with lipstick, and everything is completely stained. Now, I believe they do change out the graves every once in a while. What are they called? The marker plaques and the entombment covers. But yeah, people come here, they place their hand on Marilyn's grave, and they kiss it, etc. But there she is, folks. Marilyn Monroe and Hugh Hefner. Here we are at Forest Lawn Memorial Cemetery in the Hollywood Hills, and we are right near the courtyard, or I think this is the whatever it is, the grand, I don't know what it's called. But anyway, it's the Courts of Liberty, I think that's what it is. But came here to visit a few of my favorite all-time stars, and here's one right here. Who do we have laying to rest right here? Mr. Stan Laurel of Laurel and Hardy, buried here with his wife, Ida. That is pretty cool. Now, I don't know whether Stan Laurel was cremated or whether he is actually interred here, but judging from the way it looks with these other markers here, I would have to say that he is probably cremated, and his wife's and his ashes interred right here. But I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. If anybody knows, please leave a comment. See who else we can find around here. I know there are so many stars buried here, so it's going to be impossible for me to cover everybody. Tell you what, though, I'm going to look around for some others. Now, here's a man who needs no introduction. John Ritter. And look at the epitaph. And in the end, the love you take is equal to the love you make. The Beatles. Wow. We definitely lost John Ritter way too soon. As a matter of fact, it's coming up on the anniversary of his death. September 11th, 2003, he passed away. It's coming up on the anniversary of John's passing. And you can see up on the hill there is the Hollywood Hills. And directly on the other side of that tower is the Hollywood sign. This is the final resting place of Mike Porcaro, who was the bass player for the band Toto, the 80s band, and he passed away from Lou Gehrig's disease on March 15th, 2015. He was one heck of a great bass player. His brother Jeff, who was the drummer for Toto, is buried nearby, but I'm not sure exactly which area he is buried in, but I'm going to try to find it. The deer gave me quite a scare. I thought it was a statue, so I started walking, and then it moved, and I was like, oh my lord, there's a deer. That is cool. What more peaceful thing can you see in a cemetery than a nice deer walking around? And that looks like his mother over there. That is pretty cool. Folks, we're coming up on a lady who needs absolutely no introduction whatsoever. Miss Betty Davis. Buried here with her mother, and I do believe her sister. She did it the hard way. Very fitting, considering that she worked at Warner Brothers and we just came from there. Very befitting tribute to Betty Davis. Now coming up on another well-known name, Liberace. One of the greatest pianists in the world. I love this statue that's on top of the marble sarcophagus of Liberace's family. That is cool. Andy Gibb was one of the Gibb brothers who went off and started his own solo career without his other three brothers. But I think he still had the same voice as his brothers. I mean, if you would hear him sing, you could definitely tell that he was a Gibb brother. Who says you'll never find another love like me? That would be Lou Allen Rawls. You'll never find another like me. Or I don't remember all the lyrics, but you got the gist. Lou Rawls, one of the greatest, in my opinion, the greatest voices of the 70s and 80s. Guys, look what I found here. Michael Clark Duncan. Most people remember him from the Green Mile, which, my God, his performance in that was just, amazing. Just golden. And he also had a role in 2.5 Men and a bunch of other awesome things. Now, he passed away way too soon. We lost him at such a young age. It was so tragic. And if I had to pick 5 top favorite actors in the last 20 years, it would have to be Tom Hanks, John Travolta, Tim Allen, Rodney Dangerfield, and Michael Clark Duncan, because these people's legacies are forever. Rest in peace, Michael. Thanks for everything. These two ladies need no introduction at all. Debbie Reynolds and Carrie Fisher. They passed away one day apart from each other. Now, Carrie Fisher, as we all know, is known as Princess Leia in Star Wars, the Star Wars franchise, and Debbie Reynolds, her mother, known for Singing in the Rain with Gene Kelly, a whole bunch of other roles. Now, Rich Little even told a funny story about Richard Nixon. When he first met Nixon, he was at a party in San Clemente with all of the who's who of Hollywood. John Wayne, George Burns, Debbie Reynolds was there. He said Debbie Reynolds grabbed him by the arm, pulled him around the swimming pool, throwing him literally at the back of Richard Nixon, yelling out, "Mr. President, Rich is gonna do you." And Rich said that Nixon turned around in total terror and looked at him. And so Rich Little did his impression for the president, and the president turned to his wife, Pat, the first lady, and said, "Why is this young man speaking in this strange voice?" And she said, "He's doing you, honey." And according to Rich, Nixon said, "Why, I didn't realize that I even had a voice." But yep, Debbie Reynolds and Carrie Fisher, together forever. We're heading in now to the Columbarium of Valor, where one of mine and Madame Ellie's favorites, our favorite actors of all time, is laid to rest. And let me find it real quick. I gotta find it. Just a moment, guys. I'll be right back. Okay, guys, I don't know if you can see it or not, but in the center of your screen is the niche of McLean Stevenson, who is best known as Colonel Henry Blake in the first 3 seasons of MASH. Very talented actor. He also had roles in The Golden Girls, Square One TV on PBS, and a bunch of other things as well, but I know him best as Colonel Henry Blake on MASH. Guys, we're just about to wrap it up for today, but I wanted to show you guys one more grave here at Forest Lawn, Hollywood Hills. Guys, this is Judith Barcy. Those my age will remember her as the voice of Ducky in the first Land Before Time. And also she played a voice in the movie All Dogs Go to Heaven. But unfortunately, she never lived to see those 2 films come out. She was also in Jaws, The Revenge. And I believe she did get to see that one. However, when it comes to Land Before Time and All Dogs Go to Heaven, she's laid to rest next to her mother. Now, tragically, they both died on the same night in 1988 because her father, Joseph, was a drunk, abusive person. He was not a father to her at all. He was jealous of her success, and he had no problem telling her, his daughter, that I'm going to kill you and your mother someday. And it just upsets me, guys, because the father is supposed to be the protector of the family. And this man, I'm sorry to say, but this stupid, disgusting creature felt it was his job to get what he when he wanted it. And if he couldn't have it, he decided he was going to murder his family. So, unfortunately, just as Judith was reaching her peak in her career, Her father waited until she and her mother went to bed one night and changed the course of the family forever, and also robbed the entertainment world of a beautiful up-and-coming star. And it's also fair to note that her gravesite literally overlooks Walt Disney Studios, Universal, and Warner Brothers, which is just down there, all along there. So you stand here and you look at her headstone and you think of the possibilities that she could have had in the world of Hollywood. Rest in peace, Judith. Yep. Rest in peace. That's going to do it for today, guys. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell notification so you'll know when more incredible impression videos are coming your way. I will be back tomorrow. We still got a lot of stuff planned, even though we leave for home in just 3 days. Yes, a week has gone by so fast, pretty much. But it's been fun doing all this for you guys, and I hope to be able to bring you guys along on more trips and more adventures, because it's something that I like to experience that I hope you guys will want to experience as well. So thanks for hanging out with me again. Remember, subscribe to the channel. Check me out on Facebook, Instagram, and my website, www.thezacharnold.com. But for now, from Forest Lawn, Hollywood Hills, I'm gonna say the vlog is over.